Chapter Xuanhuan Rebirth. October. The northern lands were blanketed in snow, a vast expanse of white stretching to the horizon. At the edge of the wilderness, a great city rose from the earth. Its walls soared 100 meters high, wide enough for 2 large trucks to race side by side along the top. Constructed entirely of reinforced concrete, the city was ringed for kilometers by countless sensor mines. On the walls, a dense array of metal gun barrels pointed outward, some visible, others concealed. Even underground, for tens of meters beneath the city, concrete filled the space. Hundreds of tons of alloy steel gates sealed the city, forming an almost impregnable fortress. Air, land and underground. The city stretched for 100 kilometers, the largest base city in the north of China. In the Common Era, it was known as Harbin. After the Divine Transformation Era, it became known as Icid. Following the liberation, it was developed and built into a bridgehead for the war against mutated beasts, and a northern home for humanity's survival. 6th High School was located in the northern district of Ice City. Thousands of students attended, and today marked the last class for the graduating class of Year 3. Their graduation exams were just around the corner. Class 3's homeroom teacher stood at the lectern, lecturing. "This is the last lesson I'll give you," he said. 3 days from now are your graduation exams. The cultural exams are in the morning, and the 3 physical tests in the afternoon. This day will determine your future. The results will be released immediately. The military and various martial arts schools will be recruiting on site. Whether you gain their favor, and whether you will have a promising future, depends on this exam. As your teacher, I wish you the best of luck. The instructor finished, turned, gathered their things and left the classroom. School was dismissed. Students streamed out, but many didn't leave the campus immediately. They had a deep affection for the school and wanted to create lasting memories. Familiar students gathered in small groups, saying their goodbyes and more often discussing their futures. "I'm so nervous," one student said. "The graduation exams are coming up. I don't want to go to university, I want to be a martial artist. I'm not worried about the academic subjects. But what about the 3 physical fitness tests? My punch power is still under 150 cut. No dojo will take me. I've reached the 200 gi passing line for punch power." Another student replied, "The entry level for a second-class warrior. But my average punch speed is only 4-5 punches per second, which is also below the standard. Am I going to end up as a conscripted soldier? There's still room for improvement in that. 4-5." A third student off. "If I pass the academic subjects and my nerve response time meets the 0.1 second passing line, I might still get into a dojo, and the military isn't necessarily a bad option. There are plenty of martial artists who started in the military." "That's because the military has a large pool of recruits," another student countered. "Besides, the real strong ones still mostly come from dojos, like our country's #1 martial artist, Li Feng. His Li Feng dojo is the top dojo in China. I dream of becoming a Li Feng warrior." Forget about Li Feng. Even Changfeng and Tulong martial arts academies aren't places just anyone can get into. I reckon only Jack, Meng Dong, and Lin Zhen from our class stand a chance. They're the 3 heavyweights of our class. Jack and Meng Dong are okay, but Lin Zhen is probably out of the running. I heard he offended Jack over Anning, our school beauty. Jack said he would let Lin Zhen into any academy. No way. The academies would listen to Jack. Some classmates doubted it's possible. Jack's family is very influential. His father is a government official in Base City. As long as Lin Zhen's grades aren't off the charts, a word from Jack will carry weight with most academies. Really? Then Lin Zhen is in danger. His score is only slightly above the passing grade. Wait, where's Lin Zhen? I don't see him. I'm sure he was here just now. A few boys chatting looked around and saw a figure already walking away in the distance. It was Lin Zhen. A glint shone in his dark eyes as Lin Zhen walked swiftly. He couldn't remember the last time he'd walked this fast, though his body was still weak. His blood was boiling, his whole being filled with strength. Heaven had been so kind to him. Just as his lifespan was ending, the cosmic black hole phenomenon occurred. Space collapsed, time reversed, and his soul miraculously returned to Earth. Back to the eve of his high school graduation in his past life, Lin Zhen had dedicated himself to martial arts, hoping one day to change his fate, to change his family's fate. But fate had never truly favored him. Although his aptitude was decent, he wasn't a true genius. Coupled with his humble origins and lack of resources, his martial arts journey was incredibly arduous and fraught with difficulties. Either have no aptitude at all and live a simple life as an ordinary person, or be a genius. For a low-level martial artist like Lin Zhen, rising to the top was incredibly difficult. He had been crushed by countless geniuses, becoming a stepping stone for many. Despite his intelligence, his achievements remained limited. Even at the end of the Divine Transformation Era, Lin Zhen was still alive, but he lived a life of frustration. His desire to achieve something meaningful and take care of his family had been shattered. He lived so long because he could endure. He remained alive. But that wasn't what he wanted. The Divine Transformation Era ended, and Earth underwent its second cataclysmic change. Humanity began to leave Earth and migrate to the stars. He survived in interstellar space, even successfully breaking through the mortal realm and reaching the star realm. But that was merely the beginning of another tragedy. Lin Zhen still lived in the lower strata, suppressed by countless geniuses. Until, failing another breakthrough attempt, his lifespan ran out, and he was near death. Only then did he gain some understanding. He had lived his life cautiously, prioritizing safety above all else. Although he lived long, he was never able to advance further, This wasn't the path of a martial artist. He had been on the wrong path from the start. If he had another chance, he would seize every opportunity, utilize every resource, and strive to forge a path to the heavens. Martial artists by their very nature defy the heavens, choose mediocrity and don't cultivate martial arts. This was Lin Zhen's realization before his death. He felt he had understood too late. Everything was over. There would be no second chance. As he closed his eyes, he saw the celestial curtain open, the celestial tide surge back, space-time storms rage, and a cosmic black hole appear! He felt his soul being torn apart by the black hole's energy. Yet, when he opened his eye, he was in a high school classroom. He was still Lin Zhen. He was alive with all his memories. Back on Earth. Back to the age he most wished to return to. As Lin Zhen walked out of the classroom, he still couldn't believe what he saw. But everything around him told him it was true. He was back. My family, whom I haven't seen for so long. I'm back! The girl I like, I'm back! All the regrets of my past life. This life will not have them. Chapter Xuanhuan 2 Homecoming. Northern Base City is a rectangle 100 miles long and 80 miles wide. The North District occupies 1/5 of the city's area but houses half of its population. A typical working-class district. In the expensive Base City, only the rich live in bungalows, the poor live in high-rises. To maximize space, the working-class district is filled with square buildings, dozens of stories high, densely packed together. Each family lives in a cramped space, even in such crowded conditions. Beyond the city's high walls lies a world overrun by monsters, a no-go zone for ordinary people. Only powerful martial artists can survive outside. Lin Zhen walked through a narrow alley, quickly finding his apartment building. Guided by his old memories, is 30 stories high. To save electricity and space, there are no elevators. The higher the floor, the poorer the residents. My family lives on the 28th floor. My father, Lin Lai, should be back by now. He usually sells breakfast downstairs in the complex. Is probably home now preparing tomorrow's soy milk and buns. Mom should be doing handicrafts. She doesn't have a job and can only rely on her embroidered pieces to earn a meager living each day. Their income is pathetically low, all used to pay for my schooling. Lin Zhen walked into the dimly lit corridor, step by step, toward the 28th floor. In my past life, to get my parents out of this slum, I trained relentlessly. I passed the high school graduation exam, but Jack interfered. After joining the Azure Sky Academy, I was deliberately delayed for 6 months before becoming a full member, and it took another year before my parents could leave this neighborhood. By then, they were already suffering from the effects of overwork and never fully recovered. This time, the outcome will be different. Lin Zhen was lost in thought as he arrived at his front door. It had been so long since he'd seen his parents. Lin Zhen felt a surge of emotion. However, he quickly composed himself. After all, he had lived a long life in his previous existence, his mental age far exceeding his physical one. He had witnessed countless events and was not easily overwhelmed by his emotions. He felt in his pocket, and an antique key appeared in his hand. These security doors, supposedly dating back to the Common Era, were only effective against ordinary people. Anyone with even basic lock-picking skills could open them, making them suitable only for slums. Wealthier families had long since upgraded to advanced sensor doors developed by the Base City's Department of Technology. He inserted the key into the keyhole and opened the door, the aroma of cooking food wafting out to greet him. In their cramped little house, Lin Lai, the father, was using an old soy milk maker to grind soybeans. To Lin Zhen, the machine looked ancient and decrepit, yet it represented the family's hope. Without it, Lin Zhen would struggle to even complete his studies. His mother was cooking on a gas stove, a carb simmering fragrantly in the pot. Lin Zhen, however, that this fish was also bought with his mother's embroidery earnings, a luxury they rarely afforded themselves. Dad, Mom, I'm back, Lin Zhen said, forcing a smile. Son, you're back. Come wash your hands. Your mom made fish. Dinner's almost ready. Lin Lai greeted his son with a smile. His son was their hope. Although Lin Lai secretly wished for him to become a research scientist in the military, he knew his son aspired to be a martial artist. His mother, Liqin, came over and took off his coat. Tired? Rest well. The exams are coming soon. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. We're managing all right at home. Don't worry, Mom, Dad. I'm fine. The exams are nothing to me, Lin Zhen reassured them. Lin Zhen quickly regained his composure. Smiling as he took off his shoes and entered the house, he wanted to help his parents, but they wouldn't let him, insisting he rest first. Their home was only 40 square meters. The living room, kitchen, and parents' bedroom were essentially one room. There was also a small bathroom and a tiny partitioned bedroom, Lin Zhen's private space. Back in his long neglected little nest, Lin Zhen lay down on the hard mattress, a slight smile playing on his lip. Although a martial artist endured all sorts of hardship, he hadn't slept on such a bed in a long time. It felt rather unfamiliar. Dinner was still some time away. Lin Zhen's first priority was to assess his current situation. Lin Zhen still remembered the specifics of his high school graduation. His academic performance had been good, and the current curriculum wasn't particularly difficult. He could easily memorize historical knowledge, including the Gregorian calendar and the major events after the Day of Transformation and the subsequent implementation of the transformation calendar. He also had a superior grasp of mutated beast knowledge, surpassing anyone. Most importantly were his physical data. Upon high school graduation, the various martial arts schools had strict standards for recruiting students. 3 physical data points were key punching power, punching speed, and nerve response. The passing standard for punching power was 200. The admission threshold, anything below was considered unqualified. For punching speed, the requirement was to land at least 5 punches at 80% of maximum power per second to be considered qualified. If your punching power was 200 gi, then you had to land 5 punches of at least 60 gi within 1 second to meet the passing standard and be considered effective punches. Nerve response referred to the ability to react to an attack with evasive maneuvers. 1 second was the passing standard. Any reaction time slower than this was deemed unqualified. Martial arts schools based their recruitment on these 3 standards. Meeting all 3 generally ensured admission. Academic performance was secondary. However, if one standard wasn't met but another was exceptionally high, admission might still be possible. Lin Zhen recalled that his left fist now had 216 kg of power, his right 232 kg was 53s. And his nerve response was 0.96 seconds, all just barely passing. That's why, despite passing, I didn't receive much attention from the academy, which is what allowed Jack to interfere successfully. If he'd been exceptionally talented, Jack's interference would have been useless. To change my fate, I have to make a name for myself in this graduation exam. I can't let Jack win again. There are 3 days left. Within 3 days, I must improve my strength. At least enough to make the academies ignore Jack. That's the bare minimum. As for Jack, he'll play with you this time. An Anning. Chapter 2003 Spirit Power Potion. In my past life, Lin Zhen's aptitude was considered above average, but his luck was terrible, and his life was consistently unremarkable. However, there was a reason he managed to survive for so long. Besides caution, he later experienced a period of rise, thanks to his spirit power. Among martial artists, there is a unique group known as spirit readers. Spirit power is also a form of power, colloquially known as psychokinesis. In essence, it's possessed by individuals with exceptionally developed brain regions. In the common era, they were called individuals with psychic abilities, but at that time, there were no systematic cultivation methods, and those with psychic abilities had no place to apply their powers. It wasn't until after the divine transformation era that psychic powers were gradually developed and became an extremely powerful force among martial artists. The applications of psychic power are wide-ranging. Individuals with psychic abilities can bend metal spoons, manipulate knives in mid-air, and move objects with their minds. After cultivation by martial artists, psychic power becomes even stronger, usable in combat, producing numerous extraordinary effects. Lin Zhen was a psychic warrior, though his psychic power wasn't particularly strong and was deeply hidden. Only after several shocks did he discover his latent ability. Even with developed psychic powers in his previous life, Lin Zhen's strength remained largely unchanged. It didn't bring about a fundamental transformation. This time, knowing he possessed psychic power, Lin Zhen could fully utilize this advantage. Developed psychic power could drastically improve neural reflexes. One of the reasons why psychic warriors are stronger than ordinary martial artists. Actively developing psychic power is unrealistic for most martial artists, unless there's some exceptional manifestation. Attempting to actively develop it has a 99% chance of resulting in severe mental impairment, so no one would take that risk. Lin Zhen was different. He had already confirmed his psychic abilities, so he could safely begin development. The earlier it was developed, the higher his future potential. Lin Zhen had just graduated high school, not yet 17 years old. If he could successfully develop his psychic power, he would become a powerful psychic warrior in the future. Developing this ability requires certain tools, available for purchase online. Despite his modest family circumstances, Lin Zhen's home had a computer dedicated to internet access. The ancient computer took ages to boot, a relic from the common era that Lin Zhen found almost unbearable. After powering on the computer, Lin Zhen racked his brain, trying several times before finally retrieving his old account. The computers here only connect to the northern intranet. After the day of divine transformation, most satellites became cosmic dust. Only the martial artists' forums could connect with other base cities. Ordinary people could only use the base city's signal towers and the northern Ice City intranet. The Ice City has a population of approximately 30 million, with 20 million in the main urban area and 3 satellite cities, each with about 3 million people. The number of internet users is between 8 and 10 million. Every internet user has a unique and irreplaceable account, making online fraud rare. The base city also has very strict laws, deterring most people from breaking them. Lin Zhen's online username was simply Lin Zhen. After logging in, he checked his wealth. His account held over 5 yuan, a considerable sum. It mainly came from his scholarship, a small amount but useful in this situation. Without it, his family couldn't afford anything, and even Lin Zhen's advantage of being reborn would help immediately. Lin Zhen opened the online mall. Online shopping was very popular, and browsing various shops often led to unexpected discoveries. Lin Zhen browsed the various mall shops, searching for something specific. Developing spiritual power required spiritual power potions. Spiritual power potions, like the gene potions essential for becoming a martial artist, were extremely rare, though not as expensive as gene potions. They weren't easy to acquire. 1,000 yuan wouldn't even get him a glimpse. A potency-enhancing potion, officially priced between 7 and 8 million, commands at least 5 million on the black market. While not as expensive as the essential gene-enhancing potions for martial artists, it's still far beyond Lin Zhen's means, so he needed to find a cheaper option. One came to mind, a forum post he recalled seeing around the time of his high school graduation exams. The poster was a wealthy young man. Believing his crush needed a potency-enhancing potion, he purchased one and presented it to her. She didn't need it and rejected his gift. Humiliated, he auctioned off the 5 million credit potion for 100 credits on the forum. As a testament to his unrequited love, complete with screenshots, the incident was a hot topic for days, with people calling the rich kid foolish while simultaneously envying whoever had gotten such a lucky break. A 1 million credit potion for 100 credits. Though unsure of its authenticity, Lin Zhen was keen to try his luck, to see if fate might smile upon him. His fingers flew across the keyboard, rapidly browsing various shops in the northern mall, while simultaneously refreshing the forum posts. If he remembered correctly, the potion post should appear today, although the exact time eluded him. Other posts, however, stirred long dormant memories, drawing him back into the present, helping him truly reconnect with this era. Northern City Wall photos: golden-crowned red-eyed hawk. Fighter jet-sized! Pictures included Shoxingling beast king's minion. Giant clawed bear. Spotted northwest of Oil City! Martial artists mobilizing for extermination. Tianfeng Martial Arts Academy students are bullying and extorting merchants in the South City market. Where is the city base's supervision? Martial artist privileges cannot supersede the law. Water monsters are rampant in the Songhua River, causing bridge collapses. Whose fault is this? One post after another, so familiar, brought a smile to Lin Zhen's lips. Yes, this was the era. He was familiar with everything about this era. With these memories, he was fully capable of carving out a place for himself here. After looking for a while, Li Qin's voice came from the living room. Lin Zhen, come eat. Lin Zhen put down his computer and went to the living room. His parents had already served the food. This meal, though simple, was extraordinarily meaningful to Lin Zhen. He had seen his parents again, and that was the most important thing. The way they spoke revealed to his parents that Lin Zhen had grown up, which also gave them more hope for the future. After dinner, hoping that this short mealtime hadn't caused him to miss an opportunity, he had barely sat down, after refreshing the computer forum 3 times, when Lin Zhen suddenly saw a post. My goddess Ning! This potion is a gift for you. If you don't want it, I'd rather give it to someone who appreciates it. $1 million is nothing compared to your downcast eyes and a faint smile. The signature was Meteor Shower. Holy shit! I know who this guy is! But others didn't know who Meteor Shower was. Lin Zhen knew perfectly well.
Meteor Shower is his classmate.
Chapter 1004 Awakening of Spiritual Power. Lin Zhen's eyes lit up instantly. In that instant, many things came back to him. Initially, no one knew if the deal had actually gone through. Most people thought the poster took a screenshot and then removed the goods from the shelves. This process could be completed in under a minute. On the forum, there's a mandatory delay between taking a screenshot and successfully posting. This is a current internet regulation with a time limit of 1 minute. After 1 minute, the goods can be removed, but not within that minute. This post had just appeared. When Lin Zhen saw it, it was only 7 seconds old. Others might struggle just to find the stall, because the poster used a secondary name. Lin Zhen's online name was Lin Zhen because he hadn't changed it yet. He was using his ID name. In addition to his real name, he could also have a secondary name, posting under an alias while using his real name for his stall, a common trick, making it difficult for others to quickly locate his stall. Lin Zhen later learned that Jack's secondary name was Meteor Shower, but she didn't connect it to this incident. Thinking about it now, it wasn't surprising that Jack would do something like this in his pursuit of Anning's affection. Jack went to great lengths, acting like a peacock displaying its plumage, showing off his muscles and flaunting his family's wealth and power, hoping to win her over. In their past lives, Lin Zhen hadn't succeeded in pursuing Anning, but neither had Jack. Anning simply didn't have any interest in him. He was completely wasting his time. Although Jack was good at showing off, he wasn't an idiot. At this moment, Lin Zhen was certain that Jack would soon remove his goods from the market. He might have even just come up with the name Meteor Shower to prevent anyone from buying his potion within the minute. Without hesitation, Lin Zhen opened the campus communication group and found Jack's profile picture. Clicking on the profile picture immediately displayed the stall's location, showing coordinates in a hidden corner of the mall. However, this posed no difficulty for Lin Zhen, who knew his seconds later. She found Jack's stall. Click open, and the items on the shelves appeared. Among a row of useless potions, a bottle of spirit potion sat, priced at 100 credits. It blended in with the surrounding bottles.
Purchase. Instant buy. Buyer request delivery via net police proxy.
Online purchases are guaranteed, even for martial artists. Once purchased, it's purchased. The potion's code is automatically recorded. After the buyer pays, they can request net police delivery. The net police will arrive at the designated location within 3 minutes and deliver to the buyer within 10 minutes for a fee, of course. The net police is a global organization. The military, and top-ranked martial arts schools worldwide. It's incredibly powerful. Whether buyer or seller wants to renege, the net police guarantees your interests are protected. After completing all, Lin Zhen checked his watch. 30 seconds. Slap. Lin Zhen snapped his fingers. Perfect! She had intended to deal with Jack anyway. The fact that fate had presented her with such a good opportunity was incredibly satisfying. Let you act tough, let you show off. While 5 million wasn't an exorbitant sum, Jack's family were officials, making 5 million a significant amount. This would certainly cause him some trouble. However, Lin Zhen was also cautious. She created a secondary name for herself, preventing Jack from knowing who had bought his spiritual potion. The net surveillance delivery person arrived quickly. 8 minutes later, Lin Zhen's doorbell rang. He opened the door and received the package. His parents merely glanced at it without asking questions. In their eyes, Lin Zhen, their soon-to-graduate son with excellent grades, was the true head of the household, the family's future. They were completely dependent on him. Lin Zhen took the package to his room. It was a simple small box containing a glass vial about 10 centimeters long. The unopened vial was vacuum sealed, its numbered seal tamper-proof. Spirit medicine, an essential item for the awakening of psychic abilities. extracted from the genes of various mutated beasts skilled in mental control, currently priced at 5 million. I understand it's set to increase in half a month. It will cost 7 million. Awakening psychic abilities not only significantly enhances nerve response but also slightly increases strength and speed. It's the fastest way to improve strength before the graduation exam. The process of enhancing psychic abilities takes some time. Before beginning, Lin Zhen specifically told his parents that he would be practicing indoors for 2 days and they shouldn't worry. After their agreement, Lin Zhen slept for a while. The next morning, he ate a hearty breakfast, feeling better than ever before. Only then did he pick up the spirit medicine and drink it in one gulp. A wave of coolness washed over his stomach, instantly turning into searing heat that spread through his limbs and into Lin Zhen's mind. Lin Zhen had experienced a surge in mental power before, so the feeling wasn't entirely unfamiliar. He simply gritted his teeth, enduring the needle like pricks of pain. Mental power potions are a type of gene-enhancing drug, a product of high technology. They work by continuously stimulating the brain, awakening latent mental power. Those with higher aptitudes might fully awaken in a few hours, while those with lower aptitudes might take 3 to 5 days. In his past life, Lin Zhen's awakening took a full 48 hours. His aptitude was considered average. However, this time during his awakening, he discovered that his mental power seemed to have increased compared to his previous life, likely due to his soul's rebirth in his mind. Primarily green with streaks of silver, slowly emerged. Lin Zhen knew that this was his mental power. The strength of mental power is divided into several stages. The initial stage is green, classified as bronze level mental power. It gradually evolves into silver level, then gold level, dark gold level, and diamond level. Lin Zhen didn't know what lay beyond diamond level. The strongest he had ever seen in his past life possessed only diamond level mental power. In his previous life he had only reached the high silver rank. At the time of his awakening, he was merely at the initial bronze level, but in this life, upon awakening, he possessed advanced bronze level, beginning to transform into silver level. Psychic power. This was undoubtedly a huge improvement, enough to be described as a genius psychic. It was actually advanced bronze level psychic power, and showed signs of silvering. With such a high starting point, in this life, I will definitely become a powerful psychic. After his psychic power fully awakened and the effects of the medicine completely dissipated, Lin Zhen opened his eyes. If someone were to face Lin Zhen at this moment, they would find his eyes exceptionally bright. So bright as to sting the eyes of others, making them unable to look directly at them. Chapter 1005 Return to School. After awakening his psychic power, Lin Zhen checked the time. It only took 9 hours. Awakening within 10 hours could be considered genius. 9 hours was exceptionally outstanding, especially since Lin Zhen was not yet 17 years old, making his awakening incredibly early. Generally, warriors would first take gene medicine to enhance their physique, while the awakening of psychic power was uncertain. However, the earlier the awakening, the higher the future achievements. For the next 2 days, Lin Zhen stayed at home, adapting his past life's experience. This process was not difficult. After 2 days, Lin Zhen's psychic power had completely stabilized. As long as he diligently cultivated, his psychic power would gradually increase. Graduation day arrived quickly, and Lin Zhen left home for school. By the time he arrived, the school was bustling with activity, filled with all sorts of luxury cars. As he reached the school gates, a figure appeared before him. Xuanhuan, an muscular young man, over 6 feet tall, stood before him, a guileless smile on his face. Lin Zhen smiled. It was Meng Dong, a good friend from his school days, a fine young man with exceptional martial arts talent. They had known each other since childhood and were close friends during their school years. Meng Dong possessed incredible natural strength. Lin Zhen knew that Meng Dong had been selected by the Lifeng Martial Arts Academy for this graduation exam. And less than 2 months later, he had become a full-fledged martial artist, gaining some renown in the northern region. Lin Zhen only managed to get into the Bikwang martial arts gym in the graduation exam. Coupled with Jack Say, his status was low, putting him far behind Meng Dong. Feeling inferior, Lin Zhen avoided Meng Dong, and the two gradually drifted apart. Seeing his old friend, Lin Zhen felt a surge of happiness. He patted Meng Dong on the shoulder. Dongzi, you're here so early. Looks like you're brimming with confidence. Meng Dong scratched his head. Lin Zhen, you can't tell anyone this, but I was so nervous last night I couldn't sleep a wink. What if I perform badly and fail? My parents would be so disappointed. They're counting on me to earn money and buy them a big house. Don't worry so much. I think you'll definitely be chosen by Gale Wind this time. Meng Dong immediately grinned. If I really get chosen by Gale Wind, you'll treat to a huge feast. Well, go eat roasted tusked wild boar. No, you'll have to join the Gale Wind Martial Arts Academy too. I'll try my best. Lin Zhen smiled. He knew his strength had improved significantly, but he wasn't sure exactly how much. He didn't have the means to test it at home. He'd only know for sure during the graduation exam. How's your preparation for the morning cultural classes going? You need to at least guarantee a passing grade. Lin Zhen reminded Meng Dong. I've almost memorized everything. The two chatted as they walked, when suddenly Lin Zhen stopped. A stunning figure appeared ahead, her hair like silk, her eyebrows and eyes like a painting. At such a young age, she already possessed a captivating charm, her beautiful eyes twinkling as she looked at Lin Zhen. Lin Zhen, it's a Ning, she's looking at you! Meng Dong chuckled with a somewhat lecherous grin. As a friend, Meng Dong knew Lin Zhen's feelings for An Ning, and he hoped his friend could get his wish. After his rebirth, facing the girl he liked, Lin Zhen felt only a gentle joy. This feeling of being worlds away is something those who haven't experienced it won't understand. Lin Zhen, how are you feeling? Are you prepared? And Ning, like pearls falling on a jade plate. I'm fine, no pressure at all. Lin Zhen replied with a smile. That's good as long as you perform normally. Getting into a martial arts school shouldn't be a problem, but you should be careful. I heard, and Ning trailed off. Lin Zhen smiled slightly. It's alright, I'm confident. These martial arts schools hold considerable power. No single individual can control them completely. And Ning nodded, understanding what Lin Zhen meant. At that moment, another boy approached. His long hair was slightly disheveled, and a faint reddish handprint marred his handsome face. It seemed to be from 2 days ago, but hadn't fully faded, showing just how angry the person who hit him had been. The person who arrived was Jack. 3 students in Class 3 were considered promising: Jack, Meng Dong, and Lin Zhen, the 3 pillars of Class 3. Lin Zhen was the last of the 3, while Jack was implicitly considered the first. Always making a splash at school, Jack approached Anning, saying softly, Anning, what are you doing here? I've been looking all over for you. Some people from the Tulong Martial Arts Gym are here. Uncle Zhong is good friends with my dad. I'll introduce you. Has quite a famous figure in our base city's martial arts circles. Anning frowned slightly. Why would your father's friend want to introduce himself to me? We're just ordinary classmates. There's no need for that. Anning, don't you understand my feeling? Did you see the post I made the night before last? I wasn't trying to show off. I just wanted to prove my feelings for you. Money is like dirt to me. Boring. Whatever you want to do is your business. It doesn't concern me, and I hate wasteful people. Anning responded coldly. Meng Dong and Lin Zhen watched from the side with smiles on their faces, their gloating expressions extremely irritating. Jack was furious but didn't dare to lash out at Anning. He immediately turned his ire on Lin Zhen. Lin Zhen, I remember warning you to stay away from Anning. Are you ignoring me? Lin Zhen's face turned cold. Jack, you think too highly of yourself. Meng Dong also cracked his knuckles. Want to try your hand? They say you're the best in Class 3, but I don't believe it. Facing Meng Dong and Lin Zhen, Jack felt a bit apprehensive. His fame was greater than theirs, but in terms of strength, he wouldn't dare say he could definitively beat Meng Dong. As for Lin, while he was confident he could win, Lin Zhen's gaze was unusually sharp, making him hesitant to meet his eyes. With the graduation exam approaching, he didn't want any trouble. Fine, Lin Zhen, you've got guts. Remember what I said. Your grades don't qualify you for a good martial arts academy. Even if a small academy takes you in, it'll find a way to ruin you. Haha, you're flexing your father's power and influence, yet you still have a handprint on your face. It's quite laughable, isn't it? Lin Zhen chuckled, turning to Meng Dong. Meng Dong, imagine a spoiled brat selling something worth 5 million for just $100. If you were that kid's father, what would you do? Meng Dong, though straightforward, had worked with Lin Zhen for many years and understood him implicitly. He immediately waved his hand. I'd slap the hell out of him. I should have flushed him down the toilet when he was a baby. Lin Zhen couldn't help but laugh. Meng Dong was truly to his liking. Sure enough, Jack's face turned. The slap on his face was from his father, a ridiculous incident he hadn't dared tell anyone about. He hadn't expected Lin Zhen to know. Lin Zhen, you'll pay for these words. We'll see about this. Jack couldn't face staying any longer and fled in shame. And Ning was slightly worried, but didn't say anything. After all, she and Lin Zhen were just ordinary classmates. Although she knew Lin Zhen might like her, he hadn't said anything, and as a girl, what could she do? This episode is complete. Welcome to subscribe, turn on the small bell forward, please leave your comments. I will continue to update the content behind.